Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast Real Talk with Sudhanya. I am super excited about today's podcast. This is the first time ever I'm meeting a native shaman from Latin America. Malieokalani Urrutia, or in short, Mali, is from Chile. She lives in the States and currently visiting the Netherlands when I shot this podcast. She talks about sacredness of life, the feminine way of being, and how emotions and humanity is a conduit for evolution of consciousness. I immensely enjoyed her energy, vibes, and explanations. Check it out. Welcome, Molly, to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, I'm feeling very calm and at the same time excited to have this conversation.
Yeah.
What I wanted to start with, and I was most curious about when I saw your school, Sacred Women's School, which you're co-founder of. And let's start with that as a starting point. I'm curious to know, who is a sacred woman? What is a sacred woman in today's time?
Well, every woman is a sacred woman. That's why the school is there, is to remind every woman that she is sacred. Just by being a portal of life and by being a one that nurtures, right? And a one that connects deeply in her cycles, right? Every cycle she dies, she sheds, and then she reborns and she rebirths herself again. That in itself is sacred.
Wow.
And it's also the representation of Mother Earth herself. She is embodying the creation, Mother Earth herself, within her body, within her soul. So that makes her sacred.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a very not so mainstream thought process that we women have.
Yeah.
Because there is so much of, for example, with periods, with our lifestyle, we are so much indoctrinated to not feel sacred about it. So how do you go about it? How do you go about, I don't know, reminding us women about our sacredness?
Well, I think this is something personal, right? It awakens in each at the right moment and at the right time, right? To connect deeper with the knowing of the magic that is occurring within you when you are menstruating. That is something that comes to you, and when you have either struggled or closed off or shut off the connection with your blood or with your womb or with your cycle, you yearn for something deeper. You yearn sometimes to connect deeper, right? And you, when you're a woman, it's incredible. If you think about it, women are evolving the species, right? Just for them to hold creation, to hold a baby, to hold another soul within their womb, to hold the eggs, right?
Yeah.
Within the womb, right? And to cycle through this process. Every time she's having to shift and change, to go beyond her belief systems, to go beyond her, even her comforts, right? And so with that, she's always uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. In her body, in her senses, in everything. This uncomfortability allows her to evolve and to question.
Ooh,
right?
okay. Yeah.
And to go deeper. And then so this, when you are frustrated growing up, like, why do I bleed? Why do I have to cover up? Why do I have to be still sometimes? Why am I in this mood? You start to question, right? So it's that angst and that tension that then creates consciousness to your blood, to your cycles,
Oh, wow.
And so when you do that, you question enough, then you start to get the answers.
Wow. I am really...
That makes sense, right?
Makes sense. And just 2 days back, I was writing a poetry about bleeding and why sometimes I feel, even in the society, I was questioning and I was having a difficult time with the fact that why the society treats the menstrual blood as something dirty.
Yeah.
And why am I treated like, not me, in general, women treated as such a pain. But what I'm hearing now is that it's actually good to have these emotions.
Yeah.
Because then you're curious, you're
Yeah.
questioning.
Yeah. Yeah, those erratic emotions that will take you into deeper parts of yourself because you can't even cope with yourself. So how do we organize? How do I express this? How do I come into balance with myself and the world around me? And in order for you to be in balance with yourself and the world around you, you've got to honor your cycle. And what does it mean to honor the cycle?
What does it mean?
Right? What does it mean? So this is the questions you start to ask yourself.
Yeah.
What does it mean to honor my cycle? What does it mean to love my cycle?
Right.
And to pay attention to it. Yeah. To listen to your body. Yeah. Not the outside, to your body, to listen to your emotions. So if you're cycling, like for instance, if you're bleeding and something tells you don't go to that meeting, you don't go. Yeah. Even if you have to, even if the boss is going to get, you don't go. You invest more in the inner voice and in your body than what you actually have to do. And this creates a conflict inside. But the more you invest in your inner knowing, in your body, you start to set a new path for yourself. Yeah? And the body starts to listen. Now, your blood that was disgusting to you and you were trying to hide, now you're smelling it.
Yeah.
And you're realizing, oh, this is more acidic. Oh, this smells like roses. My blood can actually smell like roses. How come nobody told me that? Because you never discovered, you only heard what was in the outside.
Right.
This is the listening. Yeah? Yeah.
And I know so many people who just not find it dirty, but also have physical pain around it.
Yeah.
They have this whole irregular cycles, which is a modern day issue. And if I can connect the dots now, it is very much rooted to not honoring the sacredness of our body. And that is leading to so much of even physical challenges. The amount of infertility we have these days, the amount of I know in Netherlands there are specialized painkillers for these days. I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but it's so common. It's so common to do that.
Yeah, it's so common. And I love this topic, right, that you have just touched upon, pain. I mean, the first thing is understanding that when we have a cycle, is that pain is the teacher. Yeah? Pain is not your enemy. Pain is there to show you something. And if you can connect with the pain and go into the pain, it's going to reveal what's off balance, yeah, and what's hidden underneath the pain that is a gift, a treasure, yeah. So a lot of us try to numb the pain. Don't go with the pain. Something's wrong if you have pain. No, I never think something's wrong. Something's trying to get your attention, yes.
So you should approach it with curiosity.
Yeah, exactly. And we should go into it. We should breathe into it. Go beyond the pain, like go into it instead. It's the same thing that happens when we birth, right? And when I talk about birth, it's birth babies, but also birth projects. Yeah.
Right.
Birth anything.
Yeah.
We go through that emotional sometimes pain. Sometimes we go into the big challenges that cause pain. Chaos. Yeah, all of that. So when we run away from it, we don't get the birth. Yeah, we don't birth ourselves.
And then it becomes a chronic pain.
It becomes a chronic pain and a numbness.
Yeah.
You numb yourself, And then one day, those emotions that you have been numbing and those feelings and the sensations, they're going to come out. And how are they going to be expressed? That's the thing. And that's what brings us off balance and out of harmony with self, is when they are expressed in other ways. Like now you're screaming at somebody that had nothing to do with it.
No.
Yeah. But it was because you were repressing all of that for so long. You understand?
Okay. Yeah.
So being alive with your instinct, with your intuition, having loyalty to yourself,
To your body.
to your cycle, to your body, is so important. And we're all discovering that. I'm 45 years old and I'm still discovering that, you know?
And I have learned in a hard way that just like gaining a trust of a closed one, it takes, you need to take just not the knowing that I need to do certain things. You have to earn the trust by showing some action, and same is with your body and with your intuition and with your inner wisdom, that you need to show up.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
need to show up for yourself and honor what feels right for you.
Yep. Yeah. You have to show up, you have to listen, and you have to trust yourself. You can't trust another if you don't trust yourself, right? That was my great teaching too, is the trusting. It was is like, okay, I want to trust, and I trust everyone around me, but do I trust myself? And these were hard lessons, very hard lessons. My name is Malieokalani, and it was given by a grandmother, a Hawaiian grandmother, Auntie Mahialani. When my birth name was released, because as soon as the name came down from the stars, I felt Daniela step out and walk out. And Auntie said, there goes, right when I felt that, she just said it, there goes Daniela and all her suffering. And I felt a star descend into my heart. I started shaking, and my 7 sisters that were there witnessing it all started crying. And this is where I embody with Malieokalani together, is what Auntie said, is the trust in the deep navigation of the waters, and also the trust in the heavens. And so when you have the deep waters and then you have the connection with the heavens, in order to keep that vibration, you are surfing the waves of trust all the time.
Wow.
So when you embody a vibration, you have to live up to it.
Yeah.
You have to match it.
Yeah.
And my life changed from night and day.
Yeah.
And I realized that trust is something that first we have to develop within ourselves. So with that, we have the matching of this trust is that spirit calls, you answer. You don't analyze it. You don't dissect it. You don't question even spirit's calling. You just answer.
Wow. Yeah.
Once you answer it, then you can question it.
That's a good one. Because somewhere I was thinking like, okay, where do we need to bring that logical side?
Yeah.
Very interesting. I want to know, deep dive into your own journey, because you told me about your birth. But how did you come to this whole trusting process, wisdom, and also birthing this school?
Yeah.
I can imagine it would be a very interesting.
Yes, it's an interesting journey with a lot of challenges, heartbreaks, shattering of the heart is the first one that really brings me back home. Interesting, huh? And yeah,
We can start with the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in Chile, South America.
Oh, wow.
And I lived there for about 4 years. I had parents that were teenagers. My dad was 19 when he had me, and so was my mother. So mother 19, dad 19, right? They come to the U.S. around 20 something, and here I am, 4 years old with them, and also an older sister. So they had her when my mother had her when she was in high school.
High school.
Yeah.
Okay.
So imagine these young parents, immigrants in the U.S. Yeah.
Wow.
And navigating life, and it was an epic experience being in their presence because they were young, and here we were, kind of alone in the world, in this big U.S. for them, right? Trying to find their way and also care for their children. Without family, without anything, without any support, just them.
Just your
So we
mom and
became
dad.
really close. We were close, and so many life experiences of changing all the time from one home to another to another. It's like trying to follow the American dream, I think it was, you know?
Work hard.
Work hard, work hard. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And
that
so,
was a shocking
yeah,
start.
yeah, it was, and I was extremely sensitive, super sensitive. And I was the one in the home that took on all the energies. Yeah. The caretaker and the one that took on all the energies, meaning that I would have my tantrums. I would, you know, be very emotionally expressive too, but very nurturing. Yeah. And so I was like the mama in the house.
Mama in the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
And also with the drama.
Yeah. And with the drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up like that, very sensitive. And nature was the water, the pool. Yeah. So nature's was the water, it was the pool. Because I lived in the suburbs of Kendall, of Miami. And this is like, if you can go there with me now, it's all cement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Suburbs.
Yeah.
And then strip malls in every corner.
Oh my God.
But barely any nature.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And the only thing you
Very
have.
city.
Yeah, very city. And then you only have pools. Yeah. So I would spend most of my time dreaming and being in the pool from the morning until night. The pool was my babysitter too. It was my dream world. It was everything. So that's where the connection with water starts to awaken.
Oh, wow. That was, you were yearning for nature and the pool.
Yeah, yeah. It's because
Kept you connected.
it kept me connected. Yeah. It kept me connected, and it kept everything that was happening at home, the stressful feelings from mama and dad of having to hold and care. And there was my little brother that came along too. So there's 3 children. I would just go into the water and dream.
Wow.
I would dream that I was a mermaid the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which is really interesting because we're going to get to where I am now. And yeah.
I know that. I have started connecting. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so till when were you with your parents?
So it turns out that then there's a big shift that's coming, you know, and we're all kind of excited because this struggling and this, you know, living day to day, really disconnected and trying to make ends meet, all of us, it gets to a point that all of us need a change. And my dad gets this opportunity to open up a business, but he has to go back to Chile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he goes to live in Chile, decides, and my mother's resisting it. No, I want to stay here. I want to stay here.
And how old were you that time?
I was about 17. 17. Yeah.
Okay.
17. And so my brother was in middle school in that time. He was about 14, I think, 13. And he was about to actually start middle school. And we didn't want him to have that kind of lifestyle. And we wanted him to have a better upbringing with school and not go into the public school systems in those areas. And so he ended up going with my father. And he ended up going into a private school, a complete like polarity, you know, experience. And that left me here with my mother. We got an apartment in Miami Beach. And this is the first time like I feel my mother happy in all the time that I have felt her. She is just relaxed. She's going to work. She's going to the beach. She's doing things for herself for the first time, just starting to do things for herself. Imagine. And she was young. She was like late 30s and late 30s. And it turns out that my father can't hold my brother, and he's like, he needs his mother. So my mom is torn. Should I go? Should I not? Should I follow my heart? Should I do this? She ends up going. Yeah. Like for duty.
Yeah.
Not for
responsibility
of being a mom. So many things, you know. But like always, she did putting herself at the end. It's not important. My dreams.
What is expected from any mother.
Yeah. What's important is what I need to do, not what my heart is telling me or what I really want to do. Yeah. So she goes over there, and in this time I move in with a boyfriend. So does my sister, my older sister, and we start to live in the U.S. because we don't want to go back. We don't want to go live in Chile at that time. And there was one day that I felt very emotional, and I went to the beach, and I said, I need to change my life. This is not working for me.
No.
So I started to cry by the ocean. And and when I started to cry by the ocean, it was this this feeling of commanding something different to the waters and to God or to anything that was out there at the time. Yeah. I was only 17 at that time. And
No worries, I'll cut this part out. There was the disk space.
huh?
There was not enough disk space.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you were mentioning about by the beach.
Yeah. So then I want to change my life. And literally like 2 or 3 days later, I get a phone call from my mother that she has cancer.
Oh.
And so from one day to the next, I was flying to Chile to be with my mother. And 2 years after that, she crossed over. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, she got cancer. We took care of her. And then she went on remission. And then I came back to the US. And then at 20, it spread. And when I turned 20, it spread. So I traveled back to Chile to be with her. And she had 2 years of life. 42, she crossed over. Okay. And those were the big awakenings of my spirituality. That's when that's when I start to plug in.
Yeah. Because that's a huge grief too.
Huge. So I think my psyche or something inside my body, or maybe what I said in the beach, like I wanted my life to change, something happened, and I started to really go into this place of calling forth all the support that I need spiritually, so then I can go through this process. Because there was one thing that I would tell myself, that I would tell every time my mom would go inside the room and say, "Did you say your prayers?" And I would say, "No, I'm gonna do them. I'm gonna do them." So right before I went to bed, I would say, "God, God, God, please, whatever you do, you can do anything. Anything can happen, but don't take my mama away." Yeah, that was like my big prayer. So this was like a big thing for me. Like, she was my best friend. She was my everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me. Yeah.
And losing her totally questioned that connection.
Yeah. Well, no, actually it deepened.
Rather deepened.
Yeah.
I always start with like it questions you
Yeah.
and makes you even deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. It actually broke down all the false ideas of what death is. Yeah. It completely shattered all those belief systems of what death is. And that's when I realized that I can still connect with her. I can still be with her in just a different way.
Okay.
And that's where the spiritual world starts to open up, because in order for me to stay connected to her, I have to stay in a certain vibration, elevate my consciousness to be able to listen and hear her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's where the mediumship starts to open up as well in my path.
So, oh wow, that there are so many avenues that we can take
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Because you speak about losing a mom, but also having this new relationship with her and facing death first time, and that's normally one of the biggest channels, biggest portals of our life when we awaken to these higher realms.
Yeah.
How was that like?
Yeah,
That's your channeling.
Well, I was preparing my body, and I started to prepare it with yoga, not knowing, of course, it just came. Yoga came, Ashtanga and Kundalini yoga came, and in order to spend taking care of my mom those 2 years with chemotherapy and the whole cancer journey, my medicine was Kundalini yoga, waking up at 4 a.m. and meditating until 7, doing kriyas and getting connected. And in those, that's when I started to awaken those realms. So when she parted and she took her journey to the other worlds, I felt like I had opened up a channel already. Yeah, through those sound waves, through that, there was a portal already there that I can perceive. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Wow. And that's when you started diving deeper and having these talks, like messages, receiving
Yeah.
these messages.
Yeah, this is when the messages start to come. Yeah.
Tell me about the realm that at least we can't see.
Yeah.
How was your experience? How do you perceive from your
Yeah.
reality?
Well, now or then?
Let's start with then. Yeah.
Then? So in those times, when I remember my dad, synchronistically, this is amazing because this is where I have my biggest shamanic awakenings, is when I go to the Sacred Valley of Peru, where Machu Picchu is and all of that.
Yeah.
She crosses over, and 2 weeks later, my dad's handing me over some tickets to go to Machu Picchu. And I said, what am I going to do with it? Just go to those ruins, he says, and you have a vacation. And I go to the high mountains and I'm walking the Inca Trail. And it's rigorous. You know, you have little oxygen. You have these huge mountains, and you're going for 4 days walking, through these mountains with all climates and all of that. So all of a sudden, in one of those walks, I feel like I can't do it anymore. And then I could feel and see the visions of my mom in her last days when she was going through a lot of agony, physical agony. And so in my heart, I was like, well, if she can do that, I can do this, So I passed through that threshold of my body and my mind, and I just kept on breathing and walking up the mountain. And then I heard the mountain speak.
Wow.
And I didn't know what it was. I was just like this inner voice inside, but it was very strong and sharp, like just very more like not human. Yeah. It was very direct, clear.
And you hear it.
I heard it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I heard it. And then, but there's a hearing and a knowing happening all at the same time. Yeah. So the voices were telling me that that you have a strength inside of you, and you have that same strength that your mother has. And then that's when I was able to connect with my mother, and I could hear her voice.
Wow.
But it was angelic. It was her pure voice in a softer tone, like very soft. And at first I thought I imagined it, I'm imagining this, or maybe I want to imagine this.
Yeah.
But then it just started to happen more and more and more. And that's when I realized, like, oh, I'm tapping into something, that I've never been taught. I've never been shown, you know? So, but I'm gonna trust it. Yeah. I'm gonna trust it, and I'm gonna continue because it feels good.
And what kind of conversations did you have with your mom that time?
So that was the beginning of it. But then when I got back, I started to continue with my sadhana in the mornings. And there was one time we were in Argentina. I was doing the teacher training for Kundalini Yoga, and the sun was rising, but in my visions, yeah. And so I saw this golden sun, and I felt my heart open, and I got teary-eyed because I felt so much love. And I heard my mom's voice saying, "Here I am." And I said, "Where are you? I miss you so much." And she goes, "I'm in the sun. Do you feel me?" And then I said, "I do. And I want to believe this is you. This is me." And I go, "Where are you?" And she goes, "I'm everywhere," she said.
Wow.
And so then, like little snippets like this, and this crying and feeling like she was embracing me, like that energy that I could only feel from her, that it was this soft hug that you can kind of melt into. That's the energy that I was feeling. So it made me cry and cry and cry. And it made me realize, like, I can access her. Maybe not how I want to in the physical, but I do have a direct channel and a source that I can continue this love.
Feel the nurture.
Yeah, and feel the nurture and that reciprocity of love. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So interesting enough, when I went to the Inca Trail, I went with my boyfriend at the time, and that's when I get pregnant in the Inca Trail with my firstborn. So 3 weeks later, when my mom passes, I conceive.
Wow.
And that is the awakening of deeper magic and getting in touch with my womb, getting in touch with everything that has to go in order to birth this child that is an awakened child within my womb.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you knew it when you conceived it, that
Yeah.
this is an awakened child,
Well,
and this is all connected.
right when I conceived her, I felt something so magical. I felt the stars descend, I remember, and I knew something was placed. I knew like something was different in my womb, you know? But I didn't tie it in that I was pregnant. I just felt, wow, what was that? Love making. What was this? And then later on, I felt her. Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so.
Yeah.
I can hear a lot of consciousness because you were so aware of what was happening
Yeah.
in the whole, I think, a quite intense timing of your life. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's coming in with that spirit, you know, kind of, and she has that intensity. The soul, my daughter has that intensity.
Right.
It's, oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so do you feel that your first daughter is maybe reincarnation of your mom or something related?
I think they crossed paths and they supported each other, but no, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. But my daughter comes in and she actually opens the world of magic for me, the world back to the earth, which is something that I just had to water the pool. This is where like the beginning of shamanism starts to be taught by my daughter. But just by her being who she is, you know, just her being a 2-year-old, her hugging trees. I never saw someone hug a tree. And here was my 2-year-old hugging trees, talking to the trees like they were alive, you know, all the way up till 8 years old, like they were her friends and her family. Yeah. I mean, doing massages and healing sessions on me using her crystals and the elements and where was this coming from, you know? I was a massage therapist at the time, so she seen me do massage, but where was she getting her little bonsai tree, putting it on my back, putting her amethyst, pretending she's the wind behind me? I mean, this is where everything starts to kind of like, what is happening, you know? Like, who is she and what is she showing me?
Yeah.
So I was very hyper aware of everything that she was teaching me. Yeah.
And learning from her that she's doing it
Naturally. This is what's so cool.
Yeah.
And the dad was complete like opposite of who I was. So because he hadn't gone through my journey, he had a whole different upbringing than I did. So we are these two polar sides, and then it causes a lot of tension. A lot of tension. But I was this fierce mama, you know, lioness that was waking up to this new consciousness because the babies were coming through. I had 4 children and the babies were coming and they were showing me, you know, change your food. Pay attention to your environment. What are you doing? What school are you going to put them in? What are you going to feed them with? Not only food, but what are you going to nurture their thoughts with, their environment with? So the level of sensitivity that I have after birthing one child after the other, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That it feels like I can't cope in the world. I feel like I'm going to go mad if I go out there in the matrix or into the everyday world. So what I do is I ground in my home because everything is so new. I never saw this from my mother or from my father.
No.
And there's these 3 little beings that are really wanting to know life and experience life, and everything you do imprints them. Yeah. And they're like open books, and they're so filled with imagination, purity, magic, that you don't want to put them out into the world and have all that cut off. Yeah. So very instinctual, like what is in their field and what so this leaves the mother like a jaguar all the time, on guard, which was very stressful for the marriage and for me as well.
Because you were challenging the norms that...
All the time.
Yeah.
No vaccination, the food, the this. Why can't they sit in front of the TV and watch TV at 2, 3 years old? No, because they can be doing something else, you know?
Yeah.
They don't need to have those visuals coming out there.
Indoctrination from the conditioning of the society.
Why don't we
and you were
sing songs?
protecting
Why
them.
don't we draw? Why don't we sit down and why don't we just be, you know? In here and them receive what's in the environment instead of what's coming from that indoctrination. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And that must be very challenging for your partner.
Yeah.
Because this is totally not in the main.
Yeah, he wanted to sit and watch football. And he wanted to go to his mother's house and visit her every weekend. And then they had a big TV screen there. And it was like, just put the kids with some food and then, you know. And I'm like, there was this place that just didn't feel right. And there's one thing that my mother taught me along the journey with her whole 2 years is listen to your soul, listen to your heart, listen to yourself, listen. Don't do what I did. Don't not listen to yourself. So she set the path for me to have this kind of fearlessness of really listening inside. Yeah.
Wow. And you had been brave enough, and that's why things became deeper and deeper with every child.
Yeah.
And you kind of got taught by all your 4 children to be a natural shaman, which is your
that's what it is.
current
That's it.
being.
That's it.
That's your current reality.
And that's why I feel that every woman is a natural shaman. If they wish to connect to their natural shaman, they have it in them just because they cycle, just because they connect with the moon. The moon, their cycle, their blood cycle is connected to the moon. They're connected to the earth's cyclical process. Yeah. Life, birth, rebirth, just by menstruating and by shedding your uterus each time. And by ovulating and by all the phases of the cycle, not just the blood, right? But this part of becoming that natural shaman is what in the school is shared. It's not, you don't have to go sit with a shaman from a tribe.
No.
You are your own shaman. You can connect with the moon, the stars, the spirit world. You can connect with your higher powers at all times. It's all in you, you know? And the children and in nature teaches you this, you know? When you sit with yourself, when you sit with your children, when you really observe them, feel them, and sense them. When they get sick and you don't go to the doctor, you don't...
Pop pills.
You pop pills. No. You listen. And because your love is so big and you're opening up to something really big because you really want to heal your child, you want to make them feel better and not feel so uncomfortable in their process, you get information. And it's so amazing, the information. And then you have to trust that information. And then you see one child here heal, then the other child heal. And then you're like, this is actually working.
Yeah. Yeah.
So listening to my instinct and my intuition actually works for my children. And so, but the first child comes with a lot of anxiety because you have to kind of be you have to be a warrior. You're setting a new path. By the third one, you're more relaxed in your power. You know who you are kind of in that realm.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah.
You're trusting more. So you can even feel that in the children, how they're more relaxed as well.
Oh, like the nature of the children.
Yeah. The nature of the children. That's what I see. Yeah.
That's true. Like all the elder ones are normally that alert.
Yeah, they're very alert and and analytical and in the mind because they have to kind of, you know, they have to set the new...
That's how the mother is also working.
Yeah, that's how the mother's working, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And tell me, in today's world where majority of us, at least, are living from a more logical and analytical and fact-based and science and pop up the pill culture, doctor-based culture, everything has to have a proof. How can we even, like, can you give me some, I don't know, suggestions? How can I honor this magical part of me? And also in men. Yeah. Because I think in
both,
in both, if we need to have a sustainable society, we need that awareness in both. What
Yeah,
can be
it's so
a
true.
good starting point?
It's so true, and that's why Sacred Women's School is for women. Men can come anytime, but it's focused on women because the guides, they told me clearly, is first you work with the women. The women have to understand their bodies, understand their powers of the creatrix, in order for them to hold the souls that are then going to awaken in the ways that they're meant to awaken on this earth. Yeah, because there is a deep connection with mother and child at the beginning, even from nursing and from all of that process, that the child gets imprinted very young through the mother, by just being in her womb. It's just
Yeah.
it's science. That's science
That's
right
science.
there. So what I feel that is very important in order to get in touch with your magic and to connect is to know that who you are and to embody that. So I know that I am the creatrix of my own life. I am the creator of my own life. What does this mean? That means I create my own reality. Yeah? And when you start giving water to that belief system and nurturing and nourishing that belief system, it grows and it empowers you. Now you're not the victim. Now you have the power.
Inside out.
Inside. Yeah. And it's inside of you. You have to go within you. You have to ask inside. Talking back to the loyalty. You have to be loyal to that voice more than you are to the outside voice. Yeah? And when you do that, you're going to see yourself painting a path that has nothing to do with how mom saw, how dad saw, or how society saw. It's your own unique path, your own unique reality. That takes courage.
That takes a lot of
A
courage.
lot of courage.
Yeah.
But once you pass through that courage and then you start seeing how you are the creator of your own reality, then you start to give more nourishment, more power to that because you feel free. Yeah, it's not about an attainment. It's about living in joy, in softness, in kindness, and in richness, because that's what true richness is. And when you settle into that richness, into that joy, the magic of life starts to reveal itself. Synchronicities, the things you think you manifest on the outside. Yeah, and then you start saying, wow, I am the creator, the creatrix of my own life. Yeah. Wow. And I do live in a magical world. Like for instance, the last trip that we took with the women to Portugal, we were riding to do an initiation, priestess initiation. We're in the car and I said, I feel like there's a rainbow that's going to come up. 2 minutes later, a huge rainbow came up. Huge. And I said, ladies, you see how we're manifesting here?
Yeah.
And it's like that. One time I was in the ocean, like these things happen. One time I was in the ocean, I was with my husband and we were playing with the children. And if you grab the seaweed in Florida and on the beach and you shake it, little shrimp and lobsters come out and they float out. And then you collect them with the children and you want them. Yeah. So Papa comes over and we're like, look what's happening here. Yeah. And we're looking at the little fish. And we were in just such joy from that. The waves, the light of the sun, everything was just really magnificent, right? So our vibration, our frequency was up, right? Yeah. So when your frequency is up, you manifest things like this. Yeah. You have more expansion of your field. Your quantum field is connected to the universe. So what you think, you manifest. So in that moment, we're walking to the shore, back to the shore with the children. And I said, but how can you not believe in magic? I tell him, I mean, it's just this ocean is so magical. You dip your hand in and I was going to go for a shell. Yeah. But I was so in the magic thing. I grabbed something and I was like, and I pulled out a huge starfish.
Wow.
And I say, you see? And I look at my hand and the kids start jumping up and he's like, what? And I said, this is magic.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So little things that they're small, everyday things, but they're extraordinary ways of living. It's a simple life, this magical life, but it's extraordinary.
You're such an embodiment of it. I'm just magically touched by your vibes.
Yeah.
And I can see that there's so much of conviction and trust in the magic
Yeah.
that is so needed.
Yeah. So needed.
So needed.
So how does this conviction and this magic come? By trusting our soul path. Because each one has a soul path. I have my own unique soul path. You have your own unique soul path. So we always have to ask ourselves, and this is what I ask, what is my soul path here? What did I come here to do? It's all set up. If you look at your childhood, all the wounds, all the challenges, everything that you've lived is setting up your soul path. Yeah, so that you can live in your soul path. And what is a soul path? Right? What is a soul path? Is when you are vibrating at your unique vibration, your unique essence. Yeah? And each one have collected for eons information in our light body that has its own unique frequency. Yeah, that's what makes us so special. And then it's like atoms. It's like when we all come together, then we create a massive creation. Yeah.
Wow.
But each of us with our own unique codes. Yeah. And that's why when sisters like you and me, when we connect, we activate our soul mission and our soul purpose.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes me curious about the next question, that why do we need to come on this earth and have a soul path? What's the purpose in the bigger scheme of things? For me, I know as an individual, as a human being, if I follow my soul path and be on my, like, be me, that is the right path, and that's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
But in the bigger scheme of things,
Yeah.
you speak about stars, you speak about moon cycles, and the earth, Mother Earth being connected.
Yeah.
In the bigger scheme of things, why is all of this needed? Why is the soul needed to be born on earth? Why do we need to go through this birth and death cycle?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out.
It's so amusing.
It's so infinite.
Yeah.
And it's so mysterious. And it's so beautiful to be in the mystery and not have to know, but have to live it. Yeah. And each time it's like you get closer to it. But right when you get closer to it, then you start again to the beginning. It's infinite, this. What we're trying to discover is infinite. And I don't think there's any right answer or way.
No.
Right?
No knowing, enough knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the unknown.
Yeah.
And that's when we're tapping into source wisdom. Yeah. And so and I prefer to leave it like that because it becomes more magical. You're able to sink in and kind of relax into the magic of life. Yeah. And create your own reality. Because if you have an end goal, or if you have an idea that this is what we're doing this for, then you're going to create that. So it's okay not to know.
Yeah.
And just to be, right?
I think that really satisfies my curiosity as well, because I know that, every time I have faced a big challenge and I know that, now I know it all, I know how life works, then it's never,
Right?
that's the biggest.
Yeah, this is what I've experienced too.
Yeah. So there is no right answer, and there is no right knowing, and there is no end to the knowing of it. And we just need to play this blind game and play best of ourselves.
Yeah, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Yeah. And ask yourself, the thing is also in allowing things to be, you know? So allowing things to be, if you wish to, because everybody has their mission here. Yeah. Some are here not to allow things to be. Some are here to be that's their mission. Some are here to be in war and in conflict.
Yeah.
Some are here to be in suffering. Some are here to be in pure love and oneness, and to bring, some are here to, but what I see with we're all working for the same thing. And there is a sacred order, just like nature always telling us this. There's the little worms, there's the lion, there's the tree, there's the wind, but it's all working together.
Yeah. more
Nobody's
or
more
less.
or less.
No.
That's the feminine wisdom. And that's what we're returning now. And the feminine wisdom is not woman. Feminine wisdom is a creation energy that we are bringing more into our consciousness now. Yeah. And it's the feminine wisdom that we're all in this together. There's oneness here. There's a place where you go inside to retrieve. You don't go only outside, you go inside. Yeah. And you trust the mystery and the unknown. And it's okay not to know. You know?
Yeah, that's a very powerful place to live.
Imagine creating our systems. It would be so playful. Yeah. And our masculine is thirsty. It's wanting to bring in more of the feminine, because the masculine is so off balance, just like the feminine is, because it needs the feminine too. And the masculine energy is so pure. Oh my goodness. And I saw that with my son. My son, you know, men are the keepers of the masculine energy. Women are the keepers of the feminine. But sometimes I'm connected to men that have more feminine energy than the actual man. I mean, than an actual woman.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So it's not really about men or women, but it is about knowing that we are keepers. Yeah. And that the men came to be keepers, you know, of that pure, refined masculine. And what I've been talking a lot with the women in the school is that the masculine in the patriarchal era is not the true masculine. Just like the feminine. Right?
Yeah.
What is our masculine? And my son has been able to birth in my eyes what true, pure masculine energy is. And it is so pure.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes my eyes watery.
Yeah.
And so when you see that in men, it just, oof.
Yeah. What is your vision of
a holder, like a pillar, a pristine channel, a clear channel, a direct, clear channel. Yeah, an illumination. This is the masculine. They come and they illuminate everything that the feminine is bringing from the chaos. Yeah, they organize things. Like my son, when he sits next to me, he organizes my chaos. That chaos, and he just sits there and he knows how to anchor it in. Yeah, he doesn't fight with it. He doesn't judge it. He embraces it, acknowledges it, and honors it, and he's able to sit with it. That's how powerful he is.
That's very powerful.
Yeah, he's able to sit in the emotion, in the chaos, in the everything. Yeah, and in the ever changing. Because 1 hour I will say one thing, and then the next hour I'm believing something else, and he just giggles at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's giggling and he's anchoring in the information.
Yeah.
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 So he doesn't feel threatened by it. Yeah.
And it doesn't, everything doesn't need to be one rule only.
Yeah.
It can change in an hourly basis, and then you
like the universe.
Reorganize.
Yeah. Reorganize itself like the universe. Yeah. So that's where we're tapping into higher consciousness. And we tap into higher consciousness through the feminine. Yeah.
Because that's where the unknown lies.
Because that's where the unknown lies and the mystery.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's so much to explore, but I would like to go into one topic before we start rounding up. Is about you spoke about the pool, mermaids. Shall we speak a little bit about the Lemurian?
Yes.
The Lemurian.
Yes. You're so tapped in. Yes. Thank you for bringing that.
Yeah. Because I know from Neha and also from you, I looked into the school also about the Lemurian activations.
Yeah.
Can you enlighten us about?
Yeah, so the school's going through a huge transition right now, because when we birthed the school, it was in the pandemic, like I had mentioned before, and we were in Lemurian energies from Hawaii and from Australia. Yeah. And we were channeling a lot of information when I would go and swim with the dolphins or sit in the stones or in the heiaus, in the sacred temples by the waters. You would receive so much Lemurian energy. And what is Lemuria? We call it Mu, really. That's what we call it in our school, Mu, the vibration of Mu. And Mu is, I really like to not really give too much information about Mu, because it is what people say, a continent that sunk into the water, an ancient civilizations of hundreds and thousands of years ago, that there's really no remnants or history of it, in our books.
We have water.
And here we have the water. And this
It's
is what always
raining.
happens, when they come. Because Mu is very connected to Mother Gaia's, and to Mu reminds you are the water. You are the sun, you are the trees, you are connected with Mother Earth and her crystal core and her heart. The best way to connect with Mu is through nature and through your crystal heart. So our mission is to bring women, or anyone. Men can come too, of course. We love actually having men. We had a man in our last Portugal trip, and it was amazing to have his presence because of that same information that I gave about the masculine. He was a pillar. So more, it's like we can get even more expansive with the teachings because he was anchoring them in and organizing them with this energy. So Mu is, to discover Mu is to go into your crystal heart, to go into those places that are so deep within you, your inner waters, which are your emotions, your feelings, When you touch a tree, you touch the rain. You just don't touch the rain. You allow it to communicate with you, to encode you, to bring you information of the universe, And so when you connect in those ways, you get more information about this ancient civilization that the Hawaiians and that a lot of cultures around the world, the Polynesian Islands, a lot of cultures around the world were able to live on earth in pure love and in harmony.
There was a time.
Yeah, there was a time.
Oh, unbelievable.
And that their main focus wasn't to make money, right? Their main focus wasn't to raise children. Their main focus was to keep the harmony in the earth. So imagine waking up every day, all connected, with vibrational connections with each other, living peacefully on the earth, and your main task was to bring harmony in the earth and in the whole universe too.
Wow. And that's a period that indeed is possible.
It is possible, and it's still possible. In the dimensions, Mu's still existing. It hasn't disappeared. It's just in this dimension of matter, of reality, in this first, second, and third dimension, it's like we can't grab it. So we have to go into, this is why we go into portals. This is why we go into nature, because through those, nature supports us into getting into the frequency that allows us to go into the fifth dimension and beyond. Meaning you can feel, sense, and see heaven on earth here. Yeah?
I want to see.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And you get glimpse of it, because in those realms, time is different. Yeah. What an hour would be here that you're in heaven and earth is probably a half a second. Let's say, I'm not giving you the exact measurement, but the idea of it. Yeah. So you'll have a glimpse of it, but you have to be awake enough to be able to catch that wave.
Tap into that
Tap
frequency.
into that frequency, that field.
Wow. And how
And there you get information. You get downloads. You get information that you never knew you had. Yeah? And it just comes. It's a knowing. It's like, it's just a knowing that this is what it is. There's no questioning. Yeah? And so, and Mu is awakening in all of us now. Yeah? And it's awakening. If we wish to awaken it, it's going to awaken. This is what I feel, because there's been so much spiritual work, and there's so many beings on earth now, and human beings that are working with the network around all of the earth, that all those ley lines that were severed before, sending information to different parts of the earth, now are running and flowing together.
Yeah.
And that's our work. That's why sometimes energetically, when you feel called to a mountain or to the lake here, like yesterday, right?
Yeah.
You're doing deeper work there. Yeah, you're working and clearing yourself, but you're also working with the waters. And when you bring that consciousness, those are the ways you open the portals.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, and then you bring your journal and you journal, because the water will speak to you. That's a womb there. Yeah.
Wow, there's so much of mystery and knowledge in
Yeah.
tapping into such a
Yeah.
wisdom.
Yes. And you know what? I think what we're here to really do, if we wish to do so, is to awaken that we are channels, that we are conduits, and we're downloading information. We are a channel between the earth and the stars in the heavens, right? In the sky. And we're receiving information all the time.
And what does your guide and Moose say that why do we need to do it here in these times? I kind of feel it's high time that
It's for the ones to come. Yeah. It's like we're making, just like our ancestors did. They set this path that we're able to awaken to this level of consciousness now. Yeah. And we're also doing that for the future generations.
yeah,
So we're cultivating the soil. I love to say this. I heard this one time from one of my first guides, teachers in 2006. We are the cave men, cave women of the millennium. Yeah?
I
Yeah. So we are just starting off. We're just turning the soil, stirring,
because
making it
there's
fertile.
a lot
Yeah?
of chaos right now.
Yes. And what's important to know
Yeah.
as somebody that's awakened and conscious, yeah, is that you just do your part. Yeah? Just do your part, because it can be very overwhelming when you wake up and you see there's so much that needs to be done. Yeah? But you just do your part and that's enough. Your sole purpose. Yeah? The other will do theirs, the other, and then we'll cultivate a rich soil.
We don't need to solve all the
We don't need
problems.
to know.
I just need to solve
Yeah,
what's in my current reality.
yeah, and maybe you don't even need to solve a problem. Maybe you just have to live your soul purpose. Yeah?
Yeah, that's very wise. Because I feel that there is a part of like how I see the matrix or the
Yeah.
normal reality is that there are a lot of people who are really happy with the whole material
Yeah.
running running after money,
Yeah.
materials, and better materials and house and stuff that and they seem to be perfectly happy living that life.
Yeah, and it's good that they're living that life.
Yeah, it's good. But for me, I feel that that doesn't feel satisfactory to me.
Yeah.
That feels shallow.
Yeah.
And that again conflicts.
Yeah.
That creates a conflict with me saying that, oh, it doesn't need to be my way of living for everybody. And to have that acceptance and to reduce that judgment and the self-judgment is quite challenging and inner work in itself.
Yeah. It's like, and you know who teaches us? Like, it brings us to the simplicity and the purity of this understanding is the earth. The earth, let's say you're a monkey and then you're looking at ants, right? You're a monkey, you're looking at ants, and then you're also looking at the leaf. And then you could be the monkey thinking, oh my goodness, why do these ants all follow each other? And they all go up the tree, and they take so long to carry that little thing, the little crumb all the way up the tree. Like, I don't understand that. I could just climb up here, like, and then the same thing with the leaf, that he's looking at the leaf and he's saying, why is this leaf giving me shade? Why is that leaf stuck to that tree? Like,
Whereas I can move around.
Whereas I can move around. But then you realize, you come out to a bigger perspective and you realize the ants have purpose, the leaf has its purpose, and the monkey has its purpose. And they're all doing their soul purpose. Some are awake to it and some are don't know that they're doing their soul purpose. But I feel that everybody is.
Yeah, everybody is. And hence not to have judgment around anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a very comforting thought.
And judgment is part of our existence, but if it starts to rule your life and create your reality, that's where it becomes tricky. Because judgment comes in, like we were talking before about the pragmatic, analytical. It comes in. You need judgment to be here in this earth. It comes in when you're working in the matrix, but you step into judgment when you need to kind of organize something or decipher something, right? Or set boundaries, right? that's when you use judgment, but not to create your reality, right? Or connection with other beings, because then it can
Then
get
it works against
drained.
you.
Yeah, it goes against you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said it.
And I think humanity is suffering that as well,
Yeah.
because we are using our intellect
Yeah,
to build connections and feelings,
Yeah.
or decipher from them,
Yeah.
which I can at least say for myself, I do a lot, or at least I did a lot before, to
Yeah.
try to have a logical reason for every emotion and every feeling.
yeah,
But now I'm more and more coming in terms that there doesn't need to be a reason,
yeah.
and just to
And how do you feel with that when you come to that?
it's still, I feel that when I'm conscious about it, I'm more okay. That okay, I have, for example, sometimes I feel a burst of anger,
Yeah,
and then I get very hard on myself that, I shouldn't be angry.
Yeah.
I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
I shouldn't react, or I shouldn't. But then now I'm more like, no, take a step back and just feel the anger. And if there is any information that needs to come through, let it come through. If there is no information, I'll just watch
yeah,
the storm.
yeah,
It's more of having that awareness that, okay, if it needs to tell me something, I will. I don't need to fight with it, that I should. Because I don't know, at least in our society, at least in our corporate world, we have this, you should always be nice, always be sweet, always be kind. And I think that it's necessary, but there is this whole layer that you feel anger, you feel there is injustice, you feel there is things that are unfair, but you have to always be
yeah,
sweet and nice and
Yeah.
obey and give in to something that you don't really feel is right, and still go with the flow and
Yeah.
be this fake person sometimes.
yeah. And that creates more inner anger, right?
That
Yeah.
creates anger.
Yeah,
And at some point, if I'm not very deliberately conscious about the anger, it can take over me,
Yeah.
and it can sometimes even give me more pain.
Yeah.
It can become into a deeper suffering.
Yes, and you said something so great. And this is the evolution, I feel. And I'm also experiencing this because I'm a very emotional person. And although I connect with, I do readings, I do Akashic readings, I connect with angelic beings, I connect with guides, and I channel for people, right? But then I close the channel and I'm human. I have rage running through me. I have happiness, passion. I have everything, sadness, deep sadness sometimes, So I have all these emotions running through me. And what I've been working on is exactly what you just said, but I'm going to say in a different way. So there could be like two aspects of it, is having the emotion, letting it be. Yeah, I feel angry. I don't like this situation. I don't like this person. And this is what's causing in me. Yeah. And then you feel it, but you remember that you are not that emotion.
No.
Yeah. It's just passing through you because it wants to reveal more information. Yeah. It wants to give you more information of your evolution so you can expand. So the process of it is feeling it. This is what I'm working with, is feeling it, allowing it to be raw as it is, no sugarcoating, nothing, just raw as it is. And then once you feel it as raw, you let it go. Yeah, it's kind of like you get the paper, you scribble it, and then you shut it. And there, it was expressed. It came out. Or you dance it. You paint it. You scribble. You moan to it. Whatever you do. And when you're at the corporate world, you're going to have to scribble, because if you start moaning, it's going to be one day we'll get there.
One day we'll get there. Yeah.
But you do something with it, and then you close it off, and then you realize it was just an emotion bringing you to higher consciousness.
Yeah, it just reminds me, emotions are just like clouds. And once they pass off, or once they rain, it makes my soul soil more fertile.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So beautiful.
I really feel that emotions are the vehicle to higher consciousness.
Yeah.
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 And it's interesting, the new Avatar movie's out right now.
Mm.
But if you can go see that movie, and just feel the emotions of these avatars, because they are so instinctual and connected to intuition, right? And these are all the awakenings of higher consciousness, intuition and instinct. They're not suppressing their emotions. They're feeling the pain, they're feeling everything, but they pass through it and they let it move through them, but they don't
Hold on.
hold on and think that they are just that emotion. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you think that holding on to emotions creates the wounds and the blockages and the sufferings that we
Yeah.
have on the earth right now?
Yeah.
Holding on to them?
Yeah. Holding on to them and thinking that you are them. And that identifying that you are that rage. When it's just a volcano erupting to create new earth. Yeah?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Oh, thank you so much, Molly. I had
thank you.
so much of shower of a lot of wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been connecting with your wisdom because I'm a channel. So we've been feeding off each other. Thank you for your vibration.
Yeah, thank you. And is there any we touched on a lot of topics, and I can imagine that we can go on for hours. There is so much to talk about. Is there something that you really feel called on to give as a last message?
I feel like the vision of the children come in a lot. Yeah. And they've been coming in more and more. I feel like every time you feel lost or don't understand what's happening, yeah, go to the children. Just sit with them. You know, look into their eyes, feel them where they're at. And just by being with the new children of the earth, they clear your field, they activate your field, your chakras, your system, your light body, and they bring the messages of how to hold the frequency of the new earth. Yeah. So children, even if you don't have children, if you're at a park, go sit by one, close to one. You know, go feel their energy. Go ask your friends who have children, hey, let me hang out with your children. Can I go to the park with you guys? Because there you're going to receive telepathic information that supports you in understanding what's occurring in your field. And they will clear you and activate you. Yeah.
Wow,
the children.
That's so beautiful and such a paradoxical
Yeah.
idea.
This is what I love.
Yeah, because we keep on teaching our children, you should do this, but apparently we need to be there and just learn to be like them. Yeah.
And just learn from them by just being with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. By you also getting into the state of the unknown and being the child too. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Molly. It was super fun talking to you, and I feel incredibly blessed to have such an intense and enlightening conversation with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It feels like home. Thank you.